My name is Claude Rwaganje. Um, I came from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I live in Maine. I live in Westbrook, Maine. I'm also a city council at the Westbrook city. And I am the founder and the executive director of Prosperity Maine. I came here as an asylum seeker about 25 years ago. Can you believe that? 25 years ago. Look now how Poland has become diverse. I didn't really expect this to happen. I used to live downtown here in a bus or in a ride going back home where we lived on Brighton Avenue without even seeing someone who looked like me. So you see what 25 years can make. If you ask someone who came the last 5 years, they won't see that much of the difference. But for me who has been here that long, definitely I see a huge difference. Let me give you just a quick example. 6 years ago, if I'm correct, I joined the regional chamber as a board member. Things that people could not even speak at that chamber. Today, we can talk about racial equity at the chamber. Today, I'm one of the co-chair of the racial equity at the Chamber of Commerce. Things that we couldn't say a few years ago. So today, I see immigrants starting small businesses, growing businesses, expanding businesses. I see many nonprofit of immigrants. I see us having contract with the state, things that we never thought about. So we see so many things really changing. We need to work together with either elected officials or stakeholders, business leadership, to really move men together, all of us.
My name is Papy Bongibo. I'm from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. My story is really very different because when I moved to Maine in 2010, between us, I would say between the immigrant community, we were not so close. What I saw back in the days, people were actually doing their own thing. So it was like the Sudanese community on one side, the Rwandese community, the Congolese, the Burundian. So we were not getting together like we've been seeing now. That's even the reason I came up with the idea of international entertainment. You know, my small organization that I created, which we're bringing artists, overseas from different countries. That was the way for us, for me to bring, us together. And I think when you look at men now, you see there's been a lot of change, and we all living together. I always advise my people to learn something, to go back to school, to get some training, because the American life reality is not easy. As I look at a few of us that between city councilor or school board, it's a big move for me. As I always say that, yes, looks like we now getting there, but we are not there yet, but we're moving. So far, my advice would be, let's keep our dream alive. Do not look down on yourself, and as you know, we are all human. So I believe that if you want to get to the next level, you can reach the American dream.
My name's Jorge Acero, and I've been living in Maine for approximately 26 years now. I work with the Maine Department of Labor. Part of my work is to help migrant farm workers that come to Maine to work in agriculture. And many of them are Spanish-speaking or they're Haitian-speaking. And so my job is to assure that they have worker protections and that they know their worker rights, and that if they're staying on a farm in farm housing, that the housing is adequate. So with a community of nonprofit organizations and other state agencies that help migrant farm workers, we're a community that help that. And so by informing people of their worker rights and their right to speak out and about their rights or question issues, that's how Maine can move forward, and that's how new generations, younger generations, can help their communities, is by understanding, what their rights are, and stand up for those rights and speak out. But I think that in the last 15 years, Maine has taken great strides in welcoming immigrants, because immigrants have arrived on Maine's lap, and you have to have open arms. And I think that there's more work to be done, and it's not going to be an instant thing, but it'll be a generational thing. As the generations of immigrants grow and contribute to the community, they'll become a part of Maine, and they are a part of Maine already. But more so as generations grow and other generations come along. More than anything is to find their specialty, find their niche. What is it that they love to do, and dedicate hard work to achieving that goal. But also, as I said earlier, to know their rights, especially if they're workers, their worker rights, and to speak out if they feel that their rights are not being respected.
My name is Ebenezer Akakpo. I'm originally from Ghana. I came to Maine primarily to attend Maine College of Arts to study metalsmithing and jewelry. I feel like the community is highly supportive of the arts. Over the years, because of the transitioning of many of these different cultures moving to Maine, it has become a fun and unique place to live. I design products that people are able to find their own voice or their own story. I think as an artist, we all play a little role. For example, the bar shelter that we're standing in right now, I designed the skeleton structure using the symbols of hope and friendship from my native country, Ghana. And by doing so, I feel like it's also my way of presenting or providing a voice of inclusivity, to Portland. I would say, do you. Be true to yourself. Let your voice count. But most importantly, you have to find your passion and find a community inside of Maine that can support that dream, that can support that passion to bring it to fruition.
My name is Marwa Hassanien. My husband and I moved to Maine in 2005. I'm a first-generation American, raised in Stillwater, Oklahoma, of all places. So we've been here 15 years now. We fell in love with the area. We came here with one child who was 18 months old, and now we have 4. So we've really established roots here. We consider Bangor home now. Because of how safe and how warm and accepting we found it to be. I think it is crucial and critical, especially in this day and age, to be involved. If you're sitting at home and feeling sad or just sad about your situation or feeling sorry for yourself, you're not helping moving Maine forward. My advice to my own children, first and foremost, and for this younger generation or anyone actually that comes, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I felt like there was no representation of people of diverse backgrounds or BIPOC individuals on the school board. So what did I do? I ran for the school board and I won. There were 2 seats. And there were 4 candidates that ran, and I won right after the incumbent, so it was just amazing. So that's another way of me finding something that was missing, and instead of boo-hoo, my kids are not represented, no, I stepped up to the plate and I said, this is how I can serve my community. And in this past year, I'm very, very proud and honored to say that we've established so much. I formed a DEI committee within the school committee. We put together a policy that really recognizes all different religions on the calendar. Doesn't mean that we celebrate all religions and all religious holidays, but what it means is that we value everyone. We're telling all students that you're valued, you're seen, you're heard, we appreciate you, you belong. So I think that's really, really important. I authored a proclamation for the school saying that we stand against racism and we're all about racial equity and justice. So there's so much that you can do, and it's basically being brave and putting yourself out there. It's hard, it's scary sometimes because you wonder if if it's your place, but absolutely it's your place. That's how you gain that sense of belonging, is putting yourself out there.
My name is Dr. Nona Tsotsarea. I came from country Georgia. So America is country of opportunities. If the Americans see you are hard worker, you are serious person, they are open, they are helping, their hearts are open, and I was able to do my doctoral dissertation, and then I worked with state government for Medicaid, and then Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention as director of chronic disease programs. It was a pleasure to work with state employees, knowledgeable people, dedicated people. I think doors are open for more and more people. But again, your professionalism, your qualification, your knowledge is key to be accepted. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm a physician. Having that knowledge added to other fields where I'm working, it is big value. That's why I think when I went to state government, being a physician, knowing economics, knowing policy analysis, knowing data analysis made me to bring value to those positions where I worked. Important advice, do not be discouraged. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, then it will be easier and easier. But do not be discouraged, do not blame anyone. Just work to improve your English and gain knowledge in any field which you like, and better you are, better and easier you are accepted everywhere.
Hi, my name is Grace Valenzuela, and I'm originally from the Philippines. I came to Maine in 1986, July of 1986. I used to work in a refugee camp in the Philippines, where I actually assisted and worked teaching English and supervising teachers who were teaching English to refugees from Southeast Asia. So when I came here to Portland, I got a job as teacher at King Middle School. And the first faculty meeting that I had, a Vietnamese woman who was screaming, Grace, Grace, screaming my name out loud. And it was one of my students in the refugee camp. And I thought at that moment in time it was a small world. I hear from our parents all the time, and they will say, the reason why I come to the United States is because I want the education for my children. And so it's everybody's, it seems like it's everybody's dreams. Education is something that nobody can take away from you, that this is something that is an equalizer. We should challenge all of us to listen to people who don't think like us and have different opinions from us. I think that's the way that we can forge a path together towards a better future for the United States and for Maine and for for our families.
My name is Dega. I'm from Somalia, East Africa. I came to this country speaking English actually fluent, because back home we learn how to speak English and we go to school to learn English as well. So my challenges were not that hard for me to navigate the system, and also moving to the United States, my husband was here before I got here, so it was easier for me to navigate that system. But what I've seen over the years were in Atlanta, Georgia, and also in Maine, that there were a lot of community members, especially for the Somali community members, who came to this country not understanding the culture of the United States, or the Western culture, did not have any language, English language to speak on. So I kind of start helping them out and making sure that they will navigate the system as much as they can, and making sure that they did what they could in order for them to have a better life in the United States. So Maine is really a place that can be really welcoming, but I think we have more work to do. I think we need to talk to more Mainers and show them that who we are and what we bring to the table. It's not that only we are taking resources or things like that, but we are really contributing to the economy of this state, which is really something to be really very proud of. I am a city councilor for this beautiful city of South Portland. So for me, I'm doing a small part, but I think we have to highlight also those other community members who are immigrants, who are really contributing as much as they can to live in a space that is safe and welcoming for all of us. When I see our own communities welcoming other people, and it's like a chain reaction. You give and you get and you give, and that's really what inspires me. And the youth really inspires me. A lot of our youth are doing so much good work around civic engagement, about social justice, about going to colleges. The immigrant community kids are going to colleges in higher numbers. So those kind of things really inspire me and encourage me even to do more. Well, I think the challenge is to get involved in your community and give back. It doesn't matter who you are giving back to. We have this notion of I'm afraid if I go to this community that I do not know who they are or do not speak their language. But I think that's a good way of reaching out and making sure that you are building a community, you are building a relationship. And that is one of the things that really helped me to run for office. As a Black immigrant Muslim woman, nobody was really foreseeing me getting to a public office and being really appointed and voted for in a big numbers. The reason that behind that is the relationship that I built with these communities, giving back, volunteering, sitting on boards, making sure that my voice is heard, going to city council meetings, going to school board meetings, and working in schools and volunteering. I think that's a huge thing, to volunteer in your community in order for you to be part of that community. So do not be shy. Give back to your community and making sure that you build that relationship and build that community. So that's what I will advise our youth to do. Give back, volunteer, and you will have the reward after.
My name is Mohammed Nasser Sher. I go by my middle name, Nasser. Yeah, my homeland is Afghanistan. I came in 1984, and I came with my mom and my two siblings, an older brother and a younger sister, and we actually came through Catholic Charity program. When we moved here, there were very few Afghans, probably less than 10 families, and they all became families because we were the only Afghans. And there are Afghans who spoke Dari, there are Afghans like me who speaks Pashto. We are from different tribes, different area, but here we became one big family and we had to support one another. I like helping people, I like helping the youth, and it's just in my nature to be helpful to others. And even in my professions, I guess, I studied international development, I studied geography, I was interested in archaeology, and even my master's degree in community planning and development. So it just comes in my nature, helping others. And people know that they can trust me. When somebody is ill in the hospital, they call me. When someone is near death, they call me to get the cemetery ready, to get the grave ready, to get our paperwork ready, to do the legwork. And someone, if they have trouble with the law, with their kids in school or elsewhere. They call me. There's a lot of stigma in the community, and so not everybody wants to share their own problem to the rest of the community. So they come to me, and that's where I interact, and that's where I try to help. And I've worked with a lot of high school students. We had a Muslims interscholastic tournament, missed. We took students from different high schools, and we competed in Boston, competing in poetry, writing, films, making food, sport, all sorts of categories. Our kids or kids here in this community are so much ahead than what I was used to back in the 80s. There's a lot of opportunities for them. The technology is there to move forward, and I think we need to work with the youth.
My name is Cron. Like many Latinx children, first generation, we don't really have a place to call home. I moved to Maine when there still weren't very many immigrants here, and I've always felt alone here for most of my life. My mom is an immigrant from Peru. She came to the United States when she was 25 years old, and she came thinking that she was going to make a better life for herself, and what she found here was totally different. Her life has mostly been one of struggle. I saw that the strain that put on our family and how that happens to so many families, right? And that we don't get to thrive and experience the fullness of life because we're struggling just to survive. My community work is my love letter to my mom and my grandmother and to all the women who sacrificed everything so that we could get here. And I hope that the work that I do in some small way will transform that so that we can begin to live and experience the joy of what it is to be alive. I've been able to identify my siblings in the struggle who are committed to doing this work, and I feel more hopeful now that we're on a good path even though we're not there yet. I think the most important thing is to not forget our collective roots, where we come from. No matter what culture, what country, in non-Western cultures, family and community is the basis for life and everything that we do. I think what makes us so strong and so special is that sense of community and collective care that we have for one another. And I don't think that we can continue to change the state for the better if we don't carry that with us in all the work that we do.
How do you say that's
a wrap?
That's a wrap.
My name is Angela Okafor. I am originally from Nigeria, and I'm proud and honored to call Bengal and Maine home. My church was a huge support for us when we first came. It became our family away from home, and up till today, I can't tell my story without St. John's Episcopal Church in Bengal. Being from away, being a black woman and the mother of young children, these are all challenges, but I believe that challenges either make you or they mar you, depending on your choice. It's not easy, yes, but the encouragement is more than the discouragement. No single person does things themselves, Everything that I feel our community has achieved, I would say we have worked together in so many ways. Maybe I may bring them up, but that doesn't mean I did it by myself. There are a lot of people, blowing my trumpet, encouraging me, holding my hand, making me sharpen my thoughts and argue to bring out the best of whatever idea. So everything I believe our community and our state has achieved has been us working together. Every step we have taken, I believe, has been, yes, towards the right direction. Is it at the pace that we expected? Maybe not. Maybe not. But the point is, provided we are not at a halt, we are moving, one tiny step at a time. I think that is all that really matters. To my children, I would say believe in yourself. Go for it. The worst thing that will happen is you will not succeed. But even if you don't, you will learn something that will help you still succeed somewhere else. So never think twice. Give it a shot. Life is a risk, so why not take it?
I was born in South Korea, Ujangbu, South Korea, and it's a military bases north of Seoul, and so that's where I grew up. And believe it or not, today is Halloween, and that's when I emigrated to the United States, 1976, 44 years ago. And just like the rest of the world, there was no Halloween. And so when I arrived as a kid, all of a sudden people were giving me candy. I thought, well, this place isn't so bad. What's great about Maine is that we're such an independent state that people are allowed the opportunity and given the chance to kind of make your case that you belong here, and it's been welcoming in that aspect. As a person of color, I've always been advocating to be part of the larger community and talking about how other people need to be included. And I've spent 25 years working in immigrant, refugee, and racial justice issues. For me, always being the underdog, I don't mind pushing forward. I've been an underdog my entire life. I did it in my 20s for the new arrivals that came to Portland. Now I'm doing it for my kids and for the larger community. And I feel I'm fortunate that I was able to run for office. I was on the Portland School Committee. I was the first Asian elected. I was the first Asian elected to City Council. And now I'm on the Governor's Economic Recovery Committee, and I've chaired the Governor's Diversity Workforce Committee. And so I feel like I'm making changes at the state level, at the city level, and hopefully, people, everyday people that I come in contact with. If you want to do the work, there's plenty of work to do, and because it's Maine, it's kind of a frontier in this sector. Racial justice and immigration, everyone can make an impact if they want to. My advice to the next generation is don't burn out. It's a marathon. And if you use up all your passion now and you are spent, you are going to be disappointed that change didn't happen. But if you realize that it is a marathon, then you can work with organizations who've been around for a long time and help guide you. That would be my advice, because I was a young person, believe it or not, just like everybody else. I was angry and passionate, and I wanted things to happen overnight, but it didn't. And so my advice is, I didn't want to believe people older than me when I was younger, but that's the reality. You really should listen to some of the older people and use your passion and the technology you have today and put those things together.
Well, I am Turkish. I was born of Turkish parents in Pakistan, and I was born and raised in Pakistan. And I used to go to Turkey in the summers. So I am a product of two cultures. I consider myself Turkish and Pakistani. I belong to an investment community that helps businesses. I have mentored, I don't know how many businesses, students over the last 20 some odd years. I have been on boards of for-profit and non-profit institutions. But most importantly, what I'm trying to do is affect the conversation, the arc of the narrative of what it actually means to be inclusive. But it's a give and a take, and that's what it takes. You have to stitch things together. You have to be able to be open to the availability of being together. And that's intentionality, that's agency. And I think Maine has allowed that. Because it has had good leadership, or just because it has had some wonderful people in the communities. And that was a choice I didn't make when I first started out my journey to be in the United States. I don't think I even knew where Maine was. You end up in places where there's some destiny, some luck, some hard work, some fluke, and I ended up here, and I wouldn't change that for the world. Never. I do very strongly believe that the meaning in life is by doing things to better life for others. It's one of service. Get involved. Don't be exclusionary. Be inclusionary. You have a voice, speak it. Don't be on the back foot, be on the front foot. Talk, articulate, create. Ask for a seat at the table.